us where you live and what you do.
Hi, my name is Brian Landry. I work for Dipple Plumbing. I live in Iva, South Carolina.
How long have you been a plumber?
I've officially been a plumber since '95. It's been in my blood since the age of 12.
How did you get started in the plumbing business?
In the plumbing business, had a friend of the family, was a scoutmaster, was going to take me and my buddies whitewater rafting in Tennessee for the summer, and actually talked his boss into letting a 12-year-old out on the job site to do a rough. So I did my first rough at 12.
Wow. How do you feel about your job? Do you enjoy it, and what part do you enjoy the most?
I actually still enjoy plumbing. The best part is interacting with different people daily. I don't sit in a cubicle and look at family pictures all day. I actually get out and get to meet the public and get into some interesting things.
What part of your job do you not like?
Sometimes the long hours. It gets a little tiresome sometimes, but other than that, dirty environments. I like to stay clean. I don't like to roll around in filth, and sometimes we have to.
Tell us about the locations of your typical jobs. What's the environment like? What size towns are they in?
Typically, I work in what they call LA around here, which is Lower Anderson. It's more of the smaller cities, couple square miles, maybe 5 miles at best. Out in the woods, very scenic driving views, long driveways, things like that.
What type of jobs do you get called out on?
Mostly service and repair. Obviously for residential mostly, but a lot of commercial. We do a lot of restaurants and department stores and grocery stores up here.
Sinks, toilets, backups?
Yes, ma'am. Sink repairs, toilet repairs. That's the most common is people can't use the toilet in the house.
Explain the process of how you get the jobs that you go out on.
The jobs, obviously, we get called in from the customers to the office. We get dispatched, drive to the home, knock on the door, say hello, and go from there.
How well in the community is Dipple Plumbing, Electrical, Heating, and Air known?
Ma'am?
How well in the community is Dipple Plumbing, Electrical, Heating, and Air known?
How well is it known in the community? We are very well known. Our major star of the operation is Rock, which is the owner's dog. So everybody knows Rock because he talks on TV. So that's our biggest celebrity around here.
Well, I understand there's a new mascot that came on board too.
Yes, Miss Faith. I haven't seen that commercial yet though, but yes.
How many plumbers are part of Dipple Plumbing, Electrical, Heating, and Air?
Without doing an actual head count, I think we're at about 30 strong here.
And what is your work schedule like? How many calls do you go out on a day or a week, typically? Work
schedule, typically 3 to 4 calls a day. It could go from one long job that takes you all day to running a bunch of small calls. It just really all depends, but if you get tied up on a big one, there's someone else that can jump in and catch the little ones along the way. So we get everybody taken care of in a day's time.
How many other plumbing companies are in the area that Dipple competes with?
I would say 2. 2 that are in our area that service the Greenville area. Nobody in the upstate will service the area that we service.
Any local legends?
Local legends.
Or would that be Dipple?
I'm a young person to the area, so I can't pull any legends out of my hat for you.
What makes you the best at what you do?
The best at what I do. I'm very thorough. I take a lot of pride in my work. And I don't leave a solution unsolved.
What is the best part of being a plumber, and what is the worst part about being a plumber?
That's kind of a catch-22 question. Best part of being a plumber is, like I said before, interaction with people. Even though it's still plumbing, it's always different every single day. Every single day is different, even though it still falls under plumbing. It's always something different to do. And that also can be the worst part of plumbing, is that it is always different. And
tell us about your family. Are you married? Do you have children? What does your wife do?
I have a wife and a child at home. Been married for 14 years. Son is 7. We're also foster parents. We're without foster kids now, but we've been doing that for about 1.5 years. And I just love being around them.
Does your extended family live nearby? Your parents, your brothers and sisters?
I have a mom that's been up here for about 10 years. That's why we moved up here. She begged and begged and begged, finally got us up here. She lives 5 miles away. I actually live in the city of Iva. She lives on the outskirts of Iva. And she's been up here so long that 5 miles terminology actually is drive into town now. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
My sister lives in Jacksonville, Florida.
I assume she's not a plumber.
No.
Your dad wasn't a plumber?
No, ma'am.
No? We'd
No
like to
family
hear a few
members.
stories and anecdotes about your plumbing experience. What was your most memorable job?
Most memorable job. Okay. Well, we'll tell the story of what I like to call Mr. Hoarder. I opened up the door, and or he opened up the door. We said hello, and generally like to walk into someone's house and meet and greet and sit down somewhere so we can talk. But in this gentleman's house, there wasn't a place to even turn around without bumping my elbow into something. And he had newspapers and magazines and boxes stacked everywhere. Money was on the floor, and food, and just you could see, urine spots and dog feces spots and things like that. And made my way back to the bathroom where what he had called us out for was a stopped-up toilet, which is our typical, most common call to go out on. And the toilet was absolutely filled to the rim. And I had asked him if it had overflowed, and he said no. So I asked him how long it had been stopped up, and he said about 3 weeks. So that told me right there that he just kept using it, and that's how it filled up. It didn't actually flow. But there was feces all on the floor around the toilet. The bathroom was just horrendous. There was human stool on newspapers that he had just dropped it like an animal in the house. He just did what he had to do, and went ahead and we took care of the problem for him. We got the toilet unstopped, and he actually wanted me to change out a faucet for him too. So I had to drape the floor with plastic to keep myself clean, but we got him taken care of. But that was probably the most memorable one that sticks out that my son loves to hear about.
What was the craziest experience?
Craziest experience. Gentleman opened up in the door with standing in his underwear, greet me in his underwear. That to me is pretty crazy. Go to the front door without having some clothes on.
Any housewives that do that for you, or just the men?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's like the great big fish stories that you hear.
What's the oddest job you've been called out to work on?
Oddest job. I think you got me off this one.
That's okay. Is your job dangerous?
Excuse me. Sometimes can be dangerous. We work with heavy-duty sewer equipment that it's proven to hurt people in the past with broken fingers and wrists, getting hung up. I find the most dangerous to be in dark, closed areas, like underneath houses with bad electrical wiring, or up in attics to where you're walking on ceiling joists and you don't quite know where the wiring is that you can step on. I've been shocked a few times with bad wiring for houses. So
Ouch.
When you mix electricity with water, it can get dangerous. People have died in this trade before for extension cords laying in ditches. So it can be dangerous. It's not a day-to-day thing, but it can be.
What's the grossest thing you've ever seen, or was that the whole?
Story that I just told you. That
That
was pretty bad. Other than that, going in homes where they're overrun with animals, mainly cats. The urine, the ammonia smell will knock you out. It gets a little crazy sometimes from that.
You work a grueling job. Do you incorporate any fun into it? Practical jokes, humor, picking on the other guys?
Yes, ma'am. Around the shop, we joke it up and laugh it up, especially with stories like that I just told you. But we try not to be mean to anybody. But it's a person-to-person basis. It all depends. Some people are straightforward and want to be professional, and you're just a plumber. You're just there to do a job. You do your job, you go. Other people like to hang out, talk with you, and tell you about their families, and crack a few jokes. So it's person-by-person basis. So.
Are you different from the other plumbers?
I wouldn't say so. I got a big personality. But as far as our work ethics, we run a good crew around.
What makes you interesting and unique?
I'm the type person that you either love me or you hate me. And I treat everybody the same way. Just some people are more sensitive than others.
Is there something that's the strangest that you've ever seen out on a job site?
Not so much as far as plumbing, but you run into the occasional rodents under houses and snakes, and dead squirrels and air conditioning units. You get called out on a bad sewer odor, and they swear it's a sewer odor all day long. And you're telling them it's a dead animal, because I know the difference between the two smells. And when you finally find that animal and point it out to them, and it clicks in their head, oh, he was right. So those are strange sometimes. Going out on a non-plumbing call, like something that the exterminator should go out and do. But
when you're not working, what do you do to fill your time with them to do for fun?
I jump out of the truck and hug my son and start playing with him. Do anything from street hockey to stick ball out in the yard and go swimming, read books, things like that.
And how about with your wife?
With the wife, same thing. Out in the yard doing the same thing.
Okay.
We are pretty much on the same page with everything we do. And
Okay.
we've got a great relationship.
Do we have open access to your life?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that you're not willing to share?
No.
Is there any place you would not be willing to let us film you?
No, not at all.